Alright, let's do it. Let's hope this one doesn't take about 30 minutes, right? Like the last two. Oh, hey, Josie. Welcome back to the stream. You came just in time to see me sit here in queue for possibly 30 minutes, because that's what's happened with literally everything I've been doing the past few days. The near raids and even these trials have been taking like 30 minutes just to queue pop. It's like, oof. But yeah, other than that, hope you're doing well. Hope all is well, m'lady. Hope you're having a fine weekend. I would pull up my own playlist, but at this point the music we're listening to is already badass enough. But if it replays too many times, if we have to sit here for like 5 to 10 minutes, then yeah, I'll just go back to playing music like I was before when we had to sit in queue. Whew. It is what it is. Also, I'm gonna test my mic a little bit. I might just say, let's say testing, okay. Basically checking the volume on different settings. Okay, testing. Alright. Testing. Oh, it does sound louder like that. Testing. Yeah, it sounds way louder. That's a double-edged sword, though. Like, I was looking back at one of my old streams and I realized, like, my voice would sound a little quiet sometimes, especially when I'm facing the TV instead of the microphone. But I feel like, because I would have the microphone set to cardioid mode, which is meant to capture just what's right in front of it, which I have it facing directly at me, so that's why most people can still hear what I'm saying. But there were certain segments in my past streams where I've noticed what I say can be a little, just a tiny bit hard to comprehend sometimes, at least to me. But that could just be my speakers. Maybe on headphones it's pretty clear. So I just switched it over to whatever the mode is called, where it captures sound from all sides, instead of tuning out everything except what's in front of it. So hopefully this, well, obviously the volume bars I'm seeing on Streamlabs OBS shows that. Oh shit! Here we go. It shows that you know, I don't know how to say it. But basically it shows that my voice is coming through louder, but it's probably also going to capture other game audio that I don't want it to capture, like sound effects and stuff, even with the noise suppressor program, so. Well, here's hoping it doesn't. Here we go. I'll have to watch the volume bars as I play. I'll have to remind myself to look back at this segment of the stream too. 228, okay. Target in sight. Pin it down with a salvo of missiles. Threat detected. Returning fire. Familiar male voice. It's not Ellie. Damn. I wonder how long it took to animate all this. Holy shit. Alright, I guess I'm up. They're going in. Wait, that's not Allie. No, it cannot be. Better stand apart. Time for my next trick. G-Savior Mark II, opening containment field. Use the teleporter to move between decks. Noted. Accessing Ruby weapon data, deploying claws. Melisandria, grant me your strength. 3, 2, 1, 0. Accessing Sapphire weapon data, opening chest armor. I won't let you down, Rykon. This is never gonna be easy. Let's see what you make of this! What do you got? Purging armor. Diamond weapon, show them what you're made of. I have to keep fighting until my dream, our dream, has been realized. That's new. The true face of the diamond weapon. I got scared I wasn't gonna make it. Oh shit, that wouldn't have helped me anyway. Jesus Christ. Stay sharp. It's far more agile than before. Mark II is in need of repair. Fall back! Great, now we only have one platform. Alright. Oh shit! I didn't realize he, the Cold Tank died. Gotta make sure to look at the party list. Piss straight, it'll overheat. Restoring armor. Today we fight as one. Don't worry, Allie. I'll keep you safe. Hey, the G-Savior's back. Sorry to keep you waiting. The repairs to the Mark II should keep it airborne for now. Perfect timing. So it can enhance its agility, but only for a short while. We best pin it down while we still can. This is getting hectic. God, I thought I didn't make it out in time. Damn. Beaming. I do wonder if the blue text boxes are a nice little like nod to FF7 text boxes. I don't know. Oh no, I didn't have jack shit to use as mitigation. That's one way to do it, yeah. God, it's coming this way though. Fucking shit. At 1% too. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, that was such an epic save by that healer. My god. The containment field won't hold! It's not the only thing that almost fell apart, Sid. Jesus. Our dream cannot end here. That's all they said. My god. That was insanity. I'm a little shaky after that. That was very, very close. All because we both had the same idea. Our team was scattered across both platforms. Neither of us knew where to go, and then we basically killed everyone by being too close. I think we were stacked on top of each other at the same time. Me and the other tank when we were targeted. And then we were too close to too many of our party members. Sometimes I wonder if so. Well, I guess it depends on the situation. But I guess if we're all separated, yeah, if we're all separated, or like the whole party's scattered, I think the best thing to do if you have one of those markers is, well, but see, this might not work. I would say stay still, but if both tanks have the same fucking idea and they're standing right next to each other, it's the same effect. Well, but I guess it gives the other party members time to get away from both of us. But the healers would still have to revive the tanks at that point really fast. To, you know, make sure everyone survives at that point, because the next one he'll go after will be the healers, of course. Well, either way, it was a clutch victory, but we did it. We won. And I got a commendation. Hey! Doesn't really matter that much anymore, because this was this version of Leon's final foray. Sadly. We must reach the diamond weapon before the Imperials. Right. We couldn't have crashed too far from here. As, yeah, this is it. It's back to MSQ from here, and then, finally, Endwalker. So... this version of this character will finally be retired at this point. The ether, Leon. In all the years since the invasion, this place has hardly changed. I was expecting to find some sign of the 7th Legion here, but it would appear the diamond weapon has already taken them out of the equation. I pray we are not too late. At least it didn't crash into those houses. Allie! She's alive! Allie! Her eyes are not the right color. I think she was in Overmind the entire time, and I just hope it's reversible. I want her to end up like Papega Cloud. I don't seem too worried though. I think she's gonna be fine. But guys, just send something. Please, take her back to Turncliffe. I have some unfinished business to attend to. Leon senses it now too. Basic, I got you guys. I'll take care of her. Now to learn what has become of Alphonse. If you have a score to settle, now is your chance. Show yourself. The bastard lived. Of course he did. Come to gloat, have you, Gaius? It's not over yet. You certainly have an instinct for self-preservation. I would expect nothing less from the coward who sacrificed his own soldiers to further his ambitions. How dare you speak to me of ambitions? You were the one who stood in my way at every turn. If not for your meddling, the Empire would have been mine! Mine! You bastard! Enough of your delusions of grandeur. Where is Alphonse? Why, he's right in front of you! What? Once you hear the answer, you'll kick yourself for not realizing it sooner. You see, in all of the previous models, the combat data was either incomplete or unstable in some way, making their performance in battle wildly unpredictable. But then an idea struck me. He did away with Xenos' combat data, didn't he? Rather than using data gathered in battle, I should use something a little more realistic. Turns out that beloved boy of yours was quite brilliant. When he put his mind to it. By my ingenuity, he has been reborn as the core of the greatest machine ever devised. None but the great Lord Valens van Varro could conceive such a marvel. Ah ha ha ha! Ah ha ha ha! This guy likes to hear himself talk. And to think that Allie came here to steal the diamond weapon to save her brother. Only to find he'd already become a part of it. Perhaps it wasn't the reunion she'd envisioned, but I'm sure she was grateful nonetheless. Oh, that might also explain why Overmind activated all by itself. It was clearly an attempt to protect his precious sister. A fascinating anomaly, but I can't stand disobedience. That such atrocities should continue unabated is proof of the rot that has spread throughout the Empire. Tell him, guys. Oh shit, here we go! Your crimes are an affront not only to Garlemald, but to all of mankind. And now, you will die. Here we go. Have you forgotten, Gaius? I've seen your data. I know your every move. Such pitiful swordsmanship is a relic of the past, just like you. Uh-oh, the badass reload again. Oh wait, the one bullet thing, right? He's doing it again! What the fuck? That's new. He's looking desperately. What is this? Terminus est. Prosea Mors. God! Yeah, he didn't see this one coming. But this wasn't in my data.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Okay. Surprise, motherfucker! Can't get enough of that one. It's hard to find uses for it, though. Reactivating synthetic arsite system. Oh shit! Oh, he's gonna finish him off. This can't be. How is it still functional? Removing memory inhibitors. Oh god. This is gonna be disgusting if his head pops off. He deserves it alright, but still. What? You! Ah! Stop this at once, please! Let me go! Albert, no, Afformed! Wait, no! He doesn't even fucking know his name. Even the names of those sacrificed in your twisted experiments are beneath your notice. You are beyond redemption. Who are you to judge me, Gaius? Do you remember the names of the tens of thousands of men, women, and children killed for the sake of your conquests? Oz-chan? I do not deny the blood spilled at my behest, nor will I run from my past. That is why I fight, to prevent the wrongs I committed from being repeated. No! Stop! I beg of you! Oh my god. You can't do this to me! I'm Valens Van Varro! Better than Gaius! Better than all of them! It can't end this way! Oof. That's a horrible way to go. So, he was a grade A asshole, though. Alphonse? Alphonse, my son. I have failed you. Of course it starts raining. Cue the weather. The emotional weather cue. But this is not the end. I will see your dreams fulfilled. This I swear. I ask only that you, Melisandre, Rykon, and Rex watch over me. Gonna blow himself up, isn't he? Father, the memories stored in the diamond weapon. Give them to Allie. Oh, I see. That's what he's doing. Watch over her, in my stead. Father, I cannot go on like this. Please. I understand. He wants him to finish him off. Thank you. I am proud to call myself your son. It's been some time since we last heard from guys. I see. We will remain here until further notice. Well, Gaius. Valens Van Varo and the Weapon Project are no more. Seizing the opportunity, the revolutionaries have taken control of the city. Though they still suffered considerable losses, they have at last gained their freedom. And even with the Empire gone, for people like me, life under Imperial rule is all we've ever known. We might never be able to heal the scars left by decades of oppression. While there is hope for those who have survived this ordeal, nothing can bring back the dead. The loss of my wife and daughter left a void in me that can never be filled. In the years since, I have struggled to find a purpose, a reason to keep on living. It is the same for Gaius. No matter how hard he tries to make amends, the children he lost are gone forever. You can see how heavily the burden weighs on him, just as it does on me. In truth, it never gets any lighter. You can only hope to grow strong enough to bear it. Right. Forever at your side. Oh, I see. They made an adult character model for Melisandre, because we never got to see her after the ruby weapon thing. We only saw a flashback of her as a small child. So she had red hair. She's the one on the far right. There's Gaius and Melisandre on the far right, and then the Gaius' left is, Ali and Alphonse, and Rykon and finally Rex on the far left. Alright. Give me 1 second. I'm not going to the restroom or anything. I just need to adjust something. My lighting in here for one. And then I'll accept this and we'll finish this. Alright. Let's get it over with. Gotta end sometime. Recent events in Berlin have had a profound impact on the lives of many, many people, but none more so than Ali. She's been in a state of shock ever since she returned. We've even called in Sid to see if he can ascertain what the problem might be. You see, there's a strong possibility that the diamond weapon itself is what's caused Ali to close herself off like this. But for the time being, all we can do is wait. Ah, there was one other thing. Excuse me. Evelina came by looking for you earlier, so perhaps you could go and see her? Yeah, I'll go talk to her. What setting is this on? Yeah, that's fine. When I'm outside of combat, I'll use this setting, and then when there's a trial or dungeon or something, I'll use the other setting. I'll just keep switching between the two of them to make sure to maximize blocking out unneeded sounds from the microphone, and also maximize my voice when it's just time to narrate shit. When I last saw Evelina, she was headed towards a new monument. Is it true that she oversaw its construction? She told me she was going to, yeah. Oh, that must be it right there. Thank you for coming to meet me. I'm glad to see you're none the worse for your experiences. Actually, I've been meaning to show you this. Thanks to the Alamegan resistance, the monument to the fallen is complete. Though they may no longer be with us, we'll never forget them. This way, they'll always be a part of Turncliffe, and future generations will be reminded of the sacrifices that were made. You were always so kind to me, and now it's my turn to do the same for others. Evelina's absorbed in prayer. Now would be a good time to return to Sevra. I hope all is well with Evelina. Actually, while you were speaking with her, I received word that Gaius will be here soon. Perhaps in time, Ellie will return to some semblance of her former self. Also, going back to the picture, I do enjoy how they use their hair color to distinguish which weapon they would pilot, at least originally. Like, you know, Melisandre having ruby red hair, and she piloted the ruby weapon. Rex was supposed to pilot the sapphire weapon, and he has, well, sapphire blue hair, but then Rykon switched places with him. So Rykon was supposed to pilot the emerald weapon, he has green hair, but you know, they swapped. And then, of course, you know, diamond weapon was Alphonse, who, just like Ellie, has diamond white hair. It's a nice added touch. Gaius the Black Wolf, with dark hair and everything. Piloted the Ultima weapon, which was, well, it was colored black. I guess his hair is more like brown, isn't it? Like a dark brown. I wish to see Ellen. Would you send for her? But he was named the Black Wolf, so fuck it. I like how they just slightly obscure with her hair strand, that one hair strand, like what her Garlean looks like, because he's not fully Garlean. Oh god, please tell me she's alright. Allie. Her eye color's not... Does she even recognize me? At first, we thought the weapon's influence had caused this, but it seems there is more to it than that. Hyrugans say that this is most likely the result of intense trauma. Her mind has been scarred, perhaps irrevocably. God. I didn't remember this ending like this. Jesus. She boarded the diamond weapon with the intention of saving her brother. Little did she know that Valens had used the synthetic RSI system to transform Alphonse into a living component of the machine. Then, when she boarded the diamond weapon, she finally learned the horrible truth. There was no one left for her to save. Never heard of anything so cruel. Just a moment. In each of the previous cases, pilots became fused with the weapon's core. But how was Allie able to escape a similar fate? That's one of the many things we're still looking into. There is no need. I already know the answer. It was Alphonse who kept her safe. In the end, I was unable to save your brother, my son. All they wanted was a place to call home, where they could live in peace. But after all the pain and hardship they endured, this is their reward? No. This is not the end of their story. I taught them the strong must lead the weak, but absolute power corrupts absolutely, and those who have suffered at the hands of the corrupt are beyond counting. Alphonse dreamed of a land without oppressors and the oppressed, where all may live as equals. Thanks to his sacrifice and that of his siblings, the cornerstones of such a nation have been laid. Melisandre, Rykon, Rex, Alphonse, and Allie. They risked everything to win the freedom of Rillet. And now it has come to pass. I will see that their ideals are upheld. This I swear, as their father. The long and arduous process of rebuilding Rillet has begun. In the days to follow, I shall be working alongside the new government to create a place that people like Ali and Severa would be proud to call home. It wasn't for nothing. For so long, all that kept me alive was hate. The time has come to cast it aside. I'm going with you. I'll only regret it if I don't. And while nothing I do can bring back the ones I've lost, I owe it to them to make the most of the life I've been given. Times change. People change. And it's just as well. We inventors would soon find ourselves out of work if everything stayed the same. If you've a need for my creations, just say the word. You know, Gaius, I could fill a book with all the things I've been meaning to say to you over the years. But what would be the point? What's done is done. There is one thing, though. If anyone can get through to Allie, it's you. She looks up to you the same way I did as a boy. Don't give up on her. That was one hell of a confession to make just like that. It's taken me a long time, too long, but I finally found a reason to live for the present. For the future. I would not have made it this far without my constant companions, Valdolin and Severa. In fact, I believe she has a few words to share with you. Severa? For all my life, I've been searching for my place in the world. Everywhere I went, I was always on the outside, looking in. But I realized if we can't find one, we just have to make it ourselves. That's what I learned from Gaius' children. Despite everything, they never gave up, and neither will I. For now, at least, my place is at Gaius' side. I'll follow him and see where this journey leads. And before I leave, I want to tell you how grateful I am that you chose to stand by us until the end. I hope we'll meet again one day. Yes, Severa. Me too. I must admit, the thought of returning to Verlet fills me with apprehension. As a half-Garlean and former Imperial soldier, it won't be easy to gain acceptance. But if they're willing to turn to Gaius Belsar of all people for help, anything's possible. True. All this time I'd been trying to convince myself that Gaius was every bit the villain I'd imagined him to be. The ruthless subjugator of nations. Evil made flesh. And while many who fight under the banner of Garlemald are all that and worse, I realize now that Gaius was driven by his own notions of right and wrong, misguided as they were. Since then, he has turned his back on the Empire and its hateful doctrine. His guilt and anguish only strengthened his resolve. The day I spared his life, he was given a second chance. To set right the wrongs he had committed. To become the man his children believed him to be. I was a father once, a husband. In many ways I still am. And even though they're no longer with me, I want to be with someone they would be proud of. Or I want to be someone they would be proud of, excuse me. Now I too have been given a chance to make a difference, in a land far from home. I'll never forget my past, but neither will I be beholden to it. When I meet the people of Verlet, I'll be sure to tell the tale of your bravery and compassion. May it grant them the strength to face the struggles ahead. Pray go in peace, my friend. While I may no longer have a place to call home, I now have the opportunity to help the people of Verlet rebuild theirs. And who knows? Perhaps I will choose to settle down there one day. Though we were brought together under strange circumstances, Baldolin, Severa, and I will continue to work together, at least for the foreseeable future. So does this mean you're giving up Ascian hunting for a while? Well, here they are. The next set of kids that What was his name? Valens, sorry. Was grooming. Who might these charming young men be? They were found in the 7th Legion's headquarters, in one of the few areas that escaped unscathed following the Diamond Weapons rampage. Perhaps that was Alphonse's intention. Excuse me. Do not be afraid. We mean you no harm. That thing on your forehead. My name is Gaius Belsar, and like Valens van Barrow, I was once a legatus of the Garlean Empire. Though I believed I was fighting for a just cause, my conquest came at a terrible cost. Excuse me. Pray forgive me. I do not mean to scare you. If you would lend me your ears, I have a story to tell. It's so scary. A group of courageous young men and women, not so different from yourselves, stood up to protect their people from the tyranny of the Empire. They fought with everything they had, and finally victory was theirs. But it came at a terrible price. As their father, I still struggle to come to terms with their sacrifice. And yet they have entrusted the future to me, and I will stop at nothing to see their dream fulfilled. Even so, there is only so much one old soldier can achieve by himself. I would be honored to have your support in the days to come. At ease, lads. He's not as scary as he looks. And if he steps out of line, he'll have me to answer to. He just looked at him like, thinly veiled threat. Still holding me to it, huh? But at the same time, he appreciates it. A weird sort of relationship they have now, him and Baldwin. Though they were fortunate enough to escape the destruction of the castrum, they may have been injured while fleeing. Have the Chirurgeons look them over and find a place for them to stay. Marvel. Seems the time has come for us to go our separate ways once more. I myself can scarcely believe that we were once bitter adversaries, but my encounters with you have led me to question the very ideals I swore to uphold. What is strength? What is weakness? If those who grasp the reins of power are said to be the strong, then those who lack such power must therefore be the weak. For better or worse, however, we are far more complex creatures than that. Yes, there are no absolutes. Shades of grey, as I always say. That's our world. I see now that true strength is not granted by others, but resides within us. Strength of character, of spirit, of resolve. Therein lies a power to cast off the shackles of oppression, to overcome any adversity, to stand firm in the face of impossible odds. That is the strength you possess. May it never leave you. Thanks, guys. It seems I will have to summon all the resolve I can muster if I am to keep my promise to Alphonse. Jesus. That was close. The process of establishing the independent governance of Verlet is underway, and I will do all in my power to see it become everything my children dreamed of and more. For the immediate future, we shall continue to work closely with the Alamegan Resistance, whose role in the revolution cannot be understated. That reminds me, if you are passing by Forta Praetoria, the soldiers stationed there wish to hear your version of events. Right. Please give them my regards. I hope that when our paths cross again, I will have glad tidings to share with you. Until next we meet. Take care, guys. Good luck. Poor Allie. I forgot she ended up like that. I really did. I thought things ended better for her, but I guess my mind probably blocked it out. I don't know. Welcome back, Leon. Congratulations on another hard-earned victory. Ever since we first heard the news, I've been dying to hear exactly how it all unfolded. So, what can you tell me of this diamond weapon? Well, a lot, actually. By Ralger's theme. Even for the Empire, that must be a new low. Those poor orphans. I can only pray that the citizens of Berlick are able to enjoy the freedom that Gaius' wards gave their lives for. At the very least, we need no longer live in fear of the monstrous creations birthed by the Weapon Project. I shall add your account to our official report. Finally, on behalf of the Alamegan Resistance, and the whole of Eorzea for that matter, allow me to express my heartfelt gratitude. Thank you. I expect to see Leon look up like that and close his eyes. A bittersweet ending, I guess. Mostly for the better, but still sad. Father, the memories stored in the diamond weapon. Give them to Allie. Pause, champ? Is this gonna snap her out of it? God, I hope so, but I don't know. I really can't remember. What? Where are these projections going? Holy shit. Oh, that was wrong. Unless I was a younger version of Melisandre, I get it now. They were different people, so I was right. Okay. That was someone else. Unless her hair just changed color as she got older, I don't fucking know. Olivia. Guys is like, step aside. Can't hog me all to yourself. I gotta talk to them alone. Get Livy all jealous over there. Nero over here, apathetic. I don't give a shit. God, Livia really did wanna hog him all to herself all the time, didn't she? He really did care about them. Projections from within the synthetic aura site. These are his memories. Their memories. They always know how to get me, don't they? I don't want to live in a world without you. That's why I'm going with you. No, not yet, Ellie. Now's not your time. Father still needs you. Please take care of him. In our place. And if you're worried about Alphonse, don't be. He's got us for company. We want you to see this new world for yourself. We will forever be at your side, Allie. I'm the only one left. But I'll never be alone. Father! Sorry, I needed a minute there. The mass destruction of weapons. That last scene alone is... That last scene alone is what makes it a very heavy contender for the four lords from Stormblood. Like, this is why I said even back then that it was a toss-up. Sometimes I like one of them better than the other when it comes to the Trial series. That ending, though, that sells me on this one being the better one, honestly. But even that doesn't feel right, honestly. I just, like, even just saying that, I can't really discount all the emotion and the authenticity of that story either. I guess I'll just have to leave him in a tie, actually. Because even as I said that, I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. I'm just gonna have to love them both equally. And for different reasons. But not really. It's mostly just, you know, it's the emotion, the heart. Both stories have heart, you know? The Four Lords and the Four Lords storyline in this one too, the Sorrows of Verlet. They both evoke a lot of emotion, and I always love that in a story, so... I love them both equally. I'm just gonna have to leave it at that. I think it's just in the heat of the moment for each one. Whichever one I'm currently playing through, I think it's the one that I'm always like, oh, this one's better. You know? Because your memories, they fade and warp over time. So you have to re-experience it again to get that same feeling, and it's, yeah. Yeah, I love them both equally. I think I'm just gonna love whichever one I'm currently doing, I'll love more than the other in that moment, I suppose. As for I might as well do my wrap-up since we're basically done with Shadowbringers and all that's left is the, pre-Endwalker stuff. I might as well, like, start getting my feelings out on everything, but first, let's finish up with this guy. Alright, Mr. Giant Mech Nerd. You got a diamond weapon bust ready for me, or what? An excellent choice, I'll have it ready in a jiffy. The only one left. Here it is, the most formidable of all weapons, one that requires no introduction. Having said that, I'll give one regardless. Sure. Let me begin with its alternate name, AEWIZ. Like the other models, it is an anti-Acon war machina, and the I is a numeral indicating that it belongs to the first series of prototypes. Z seems to imply that it's the final version. This is merely conjecture on my part, but the ruby, sapphire, and emerald weapons appear to have been designed from the outset to gather data for making improvements to the diamond weapon. They flipped it on its head because... I like how they did that. They flipped it on its head because since diamond weapon is the only one you actually have to defeat in MSQ for FF7, it's actually the weakest one. And, you know, Emerald, Ultima, Emerald, and Ruby weapon are much stronger than Diamond. And I think the order is Ultima weapon, and then Ruby weapon, and then Emerald weapon is the strongest boss in the entire game of FF7. But that's not all. The Diamond weapon was equipped with a certain element that the other models lacked. This enabled it to reach its final perfected state, but it's the nature of this element that troubles me. What's wrong? Even after reading the reports, I'm still having trouble coming to terms with the sacrifices made in the name of the weapon project. Perhaps we should give a moment of silence for the young lives lost. Thank God. I was hoping this guy would take a moment to stop being all hype and, you know, actually be sensitive to what just happened for once. So... Excuse me. I was planning to give this sculpture to the people of Erlit as a reminder of the brave souls whose deeds eventually led to independence from the Empire. As with my previous works, the sculpture can also be used to reenact your encounter with the weapon. I hope it will prove useful in preparing for whatever the future holds in store. Okay. I'll make sure that it does. Pod Deck Extreme. Yeah, most of these Savage content, Extreme content, they are made to make you well, they're made for a challenge for fun, but they will make you a better player in so doing of taking up those challenges. But I'm happy that they actually made him sensitive there at the end, considering how things just ended. I was kind of dreading his usual antics, you know, where he rambles on and not only like me, obviously, but where he rambles on all excitedly and is just like, I'm glad they didn't do that, the last one. Well, I guess it's on to our next adventure. I think by now, Scions probably have something to say to us back in Revenant's Toll. Before we go back, I promised, you know, my thoughts on Shadowbringers. So at first, I should use visual aids to remind myself of what I wanted to say. It's not terribly much, I'll try to keep it short. But you know me, sometimes I ramble. So, starting with this, I didn't forget. The Warrior of Light. I don't think any of what I'm about to say was intentional. But I'd like to believe there's some part of this that may be subconsciously true. On the developer side, in their head maybe. Or maybe just... No, scratch that. Maybe just think of it as something poetic, regardless of whether it was intentional or not. I think this is very poetic. In the years since Final Fantasy XIV was released, all the way to Shadowbringers and beyond, and before Endwalker came out, no one can deny that Final Fantasy XIV has, to use the words of journalists, you know, the fluff that they use, Final Fantasy XIV has become a titan of a game, as they say. It has. This game has left its mark on the world, like, it's just... in the world of video games, at least, is what I mean. I don't think there's anybody who hasn't heard of it at this point. Anybody who follows video games even lightly. Regardless of whether you're into MMOs or not. And in so doing, it's also left its mark, I dare say, like, pretty well on the Final Fantasy franchise itself. Like, it's, I'll turn down the video game volume just for a bit so I don't have to talk over it too much. Or I don't have to feel like I'm talking over it too much. It's left its mark on this franchise, and I find it very poetic that it's the 14th installment in the mainline franchise, the numbered series. 7 games after Final Fantasy VII, which, in and of itself, was a landmark title, just like this one. That one literally redefined and revolutionized the series, to use buzzwords again, I apologize. But it did. It's not underplaying it. Like, FF7 was like Square Enix's humongous break, especially in the West, in the United States. And it did so well for them. And it's poetic to me to see that 7 games later they have another one. It started off as a flop. We all saw the documentary for FF14 1.0. Well, assuming you've been following my channel and the videos that I've been posting, but we saw the documentary. It started off as a flop, but then they brought in the right people, and boy, did they turn it around. Yoshi P and the people he worked with and hired along the way, and even a lot of the people who stayed from 1.0, who got to stay from 1.0, they really turned this game around, and it's the complete opposite. It's unrecognizable from the disaster that it was when 1.0 came out. It's just, it changed so much for the better. And it's now another landmark title, just like Final Fantasy VII was back in its day. And so some more poetry I see with that, which again, this is probably very likely not intentional. It's just something my mind chose to see, and I like it. The Warrior of Light being the final boss for Shadowbringers, the final trial, for the main scenario quest anyway. For the true ending of Shadowbringers, which was 7 hours, 5.3, I've been struggling to find the right words for this, and I still can't, now it's time for me to actually say all this. I've been thinking about it for the past few days, but basically you'll understand my meaning, even though it's going to come out a little weird. It's basically like they're transcending themselves. Like Final Fantasy XIV is evolving past its core root of being a Final Fantasy game and becoming its own thing. It's gaining its own identity and kind of sort of gradually breaking free from the Final Fantasy franchise, and in fact pioneering it in a new direction in a lot of ways. And I say this not only because of what we saw in the story, but some of the things I've seen in the live letters. Like, for example, one thing that stuck with me a lot in the live letter just before Endwalker came out, because I haven't seen any of the ones that came after since I haven't played Endwalker yet, just to avoid spoilers. The last live letter before Endwalker came out, I watched that one, and I believe Yoshi P and a few others were saying that they were debating whether to come up with the next level of magic tier that has yet to ever be done in a previous Final Fantasy game. So he had to consult the brand manager for Final Fantasy at Square Enix because they were going to do something new. They were going to, march on new territory, and, he's like, he wants to respect the brand, which I love that about him. So he's like, I have to get permission first. And so, yes, he's like, I think he said, we've never gone past level 4 of elemental magic, so like Fire 4, Ice 4, things like that. We've never gone to 5. That's never happened in the Final Fantasy franchise. Are we allowed to do that for Endwalker? Can we actually, increase the Black Mage's spells to something higher? Like that. And the guy, he said, I remember this distinctly, he said that the guy looked at him and replied, yeah, of course. Why not? The brand manager was just like, sure. I think he even might have said he spoke to the CEO, I'm not sure. But, they were just like, yeah, dude, you've more than earned it. At this point, FF14 is, if they want to try new stuff with the Final Fantasy franchise in general, original things, or just move it forward, yeah, go ahead. This game has a seat in the circle of, the most iconic games in the franchise. It has the right, and the developers have the right to actually do new stuff with the brand using this game. Which I can only think that was probably an incredible honor for Yoshi to hear that. And, he downplayed it a little. He tries to stay, humble, of course. Rightfully so. I think it's a good idea to do that. Otherwise, you start to stagnate. But that's another conversation. He liked that he got that answer. But then he followed up by saying, but we still decided not to do that. We still just gave it different names. The upgrade in the Black Mage's spells, they gave it different names or something like that. Can't remember exactly from this point on, because the thing that I just said was the part that stuck with me the most. But he said they gave him different names in the end anyway. And they decided not to take that step just yet. Which again, I respect that about him. He wants to be very careful with the Final Fantasy brand. He knows how much it means to a lot of people. But yeah, going back to my original point, all of that was to say that I feel like this sort of symbolizes that. The Seed of Sacrifice. You literally fight the original Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy 1. Or at least the way he's depicted in the artwork of... Oh my god, I have to look this up. It's a shame I've never looked up his proper name. Or, like, I saw it in a documentary and I didn't, Let's see, cover art. This. Should totally say his name. There it is, Yoshitaka Amano. There we go. Yoshitaka Amano's depiction of the Warrior of Light, that's this one, the one you fight in Shadowbringers, is on the box art for the very first Final Fantasy game. Your character can never look like that. It's a design that you can't actually see in game, unfortunately. But they still use this design to represent the Warrior of Light in Final Fantasy 1 or from Final Fantasy 1, they use it to depict him in both the city of Final Fantasy as well as Final Fantasy 14 now, which Elidibus took on his form, basically. Took on his form, but they also showed us in the storyline that he was his own person. He actually existed right after the world was sundered. And Elidibus respected the fact that he was still doing his best to help people and to bring peace to the world and yada yada, even though he was sundered. And he still did a lot. And so, but back to the symbolicness, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, it just feels, it feels like this game is transcending its roots and becoming something more, which is not a bad thing. And I guess I used the wrong phrase or the wrong words earlier when I said it was breaking away or breaking free from the Final Fantasy. Not really, but it was more like it's pioneering it in a new direction, or it's helping it to. And I mean, more proof of this is the fact that the same team working on this game was hired to work on the next main installments, Final Fantasy 16. So then the rest of the big head honchos can work on the rest of the big name developers on Square Enix's in Square Enix's employ can continue working on Final Fantasy VII Remake. You know, Tetsuya Nomura, and the others. Which I think is cool. I think it's cool to have FF16 right around the corner, and then FF7 Rebirth, Remake Part 2, right after that. Because 16 should be next summer, and then next winter, just 6 months later, hopefully, will be Rebirth, as it's scheduled right now. So yeah, it's, again, sorry for the rambling, but all of this was to say that it feels like, it's a very, for lack of a better word, poetic sort of ending and final battle against the Warrior of Light in the Seat of Sacrifice, because it's, it feels like this game is transcending its own limits, essentially. And go figure, that's one of the mechanics, it's one of the mechanics in the fight. You actually have to use the tank limit break to survive his limit break technique against you, your whole party. Which I thought that was really cool. I'm glad I actually got to use the Dark Knights. I haven't actually seen many of them. I haven't committed them to memory, so it looked really cool when I used it. But yeah, so you understand my meaning. I won't repeat myself as I usually do. That's pretty much it. I've already done it enough times. Yeah, it feels like this game, but also it's their developers. The developers of this game are transcending themselves and becoming better and so much more. And it's really cool to see that. As for everything outside of MSQ and that sort of poetry that I found in that, which again, probably totally unintentional, but that's just how I saw it, and I think it's really nice to look at it that way. Outside of that, let's see. The content itself, well, I already gave my thoughts on the Trial series. I said it back in Stormblood. It's always been a toss-up. Sometimes I like, and I stick to that even now, I like them both equally. I've basically settled on saying I like the Trial series in both Stormblood and Shadowbringers equally. So I won't go through that again. As for the Alliance raids, I stand by what I said back then too. I like the Ivalice raids a little better than the Nier raids. But, to be absolutely fair, that's probably because I've never played Nier Automata. So, I don't know much about the story, so I don't really get the references, so it's hard for me to get as emotionally invested or hyped up about it. Because I actually did get to raid a long time ago with someone who was a fan. It was a duty roulette, and I happened to get one of the Nier raids, and somebody in the party was obviously a Nier fan, who was freaking out. They were at Disneyland or something. It was super cute to watch. It was really fun. I always love seeing new players experience content for the first time. And even on stream, we had someone experiencing it for the first time, but they weren't a Nier fanatic like this person was from way back then. So yeah, I was doing a duty roulette. We got an alliance raid, and yeah, this guy was just like, "Oh my god, it's this person, or it's this guy, it's the red girl, and this and that." I was just, I was laughing, but like in a good way. Like I wasn't making fun of him, right? I found it really cute. You know, it's just like that's really cool. I like seeing that somebody's potentially favorite game is being portrayed in another game that they're playing that they're thoroughly enjoying right now, which is this one. I thought that was really cool. I really like when brands cross promote like that. I like that. I like crossover events, even if it's not within the same universe. Because I mean, you can say Evil East was basically a crossover between FF Tactics and FF12 and FF14 all at the same time. 3 games crossing over, and yeah, that's pretty accurate. But at the same time, it's also more of an adaptation. It's more like they took the stories from FF Tactics and 12 and adapted them to FF14's lore and world and universe. You know, they're not exactly the same. It's not really a universe crossover like it is with Nier in this game, where they still are both separate worlds and universes from different video game companies and yada yada, and they're just crossing over for this one instance. But it's still pretty cool. And along those lines, obviously, I also enjoy the FF11, 13, and 15 crossover events that this game has had in the past. That's another subject entirely, though. But yeah, so I think the reason I like the Evil East raids better is just because it nostalgically references something that I grew up with, which was FF Tactics. I grew up watching my brother play it. I never got into it, I still can't get into it because I don't like that form of gameplay. Especially after FF7, which I felt was more action-based, because it was active time battle, and the battles were short and quick. I didn't like the long, drawn-out, chess-like turn-based battle with so many fucking people on the field and you're having to move them, and I don't like that. But I enjoyed much more watching it like we did on this series. I enjoyed much more watching it back in November when we were still going through tactics. But still, because it still reminds me of my childhood, and I know all the characters from watching my brother play it numerous times, you know, the story and the characters and everything, I very much enjoyed and still enjoy the Evil East raids more than the Nier raids for that. But the Nier raids, what they do have going for them, the new gameplay mechanics. I also like the Evil East raids a lot more for its new gameplay mechanics as well. And it's still kind of a toss-up between them. But I think I can basically safely say I like both raids' gameplay mechanics much more than everything that came before. They're a much higher step up than the Crystal Tower series and the very forgettable Void Ark series. Honestly, it's my least favorite one. It's just... I get so bored if I get one of those in a duty roulette for alliance raids. It's bad. I do not like the Void Ark series at all. So yeah, that's that. So basically, yeah, I still like the Stormblood Evil East raids better. And the normal raids, well, I already said that before too. They both, just like the Trial series, they both have a lot of heart in them. There's a lot of emotion, and I like the characters. But I'm afraid I still have to give it to Stormblood. I still like the Omega raids storyline and even the gameplay. The content much better than the Eden raids and Shadowbringers. So, 2 out of 3. That's why I still consider Stormblood my favorite expansion, because the post-game content still gets me more than Shadowbringers, unfortunately. But, I've said it before, when it comes to MSQ, yeah, Shadowbringers wins, hands down. Like, Stormblood doesn't even begin to compare. Not even Heavensward, honestly. Which even... And I know it's controversial for most people, but... I saw somebody say this, and even... I had this opinion before I saw somebody say this. But I kept it even after I found out he was actually right, to a certain degree. I saw somebody say that when it comes to MSQ and all that, like... He said they didn't like Heavensward because it was too fantasy. The giant dragons and everything, it was way too... It's a little too far removed from anything grounding. And at first I was like, why is that a problem? It's a fantasy game. But I knew there was something about Heavensward that I also kind of didn't sit well with me. A little bit. And then as I replayed it on stream, when I would catch myself zoning out sometimes, I realized he was right. That's kind of what it was for me too. I tried to deny it, but once I replayed it, I realized he was, I feel kind of the same way as that guy. It was a post I saw a long time ago. I guess it shouldn't be that surprising. It did surprise me, but I don't know why, since I've always said numerous times, I do like when... I prefer more when they combine, like, modern or futuristic, or even steampunk, though not really, I don't really like steampunk too much, but modern or futuristic themes and aesthetics with fantasy elements, like Final Fantasy 7, 10, 15, and even this game does it. The Guardians having Magitech technology, right? One reason why I'm not too excited about FF16, it's all fantasy. Like, it's pure fantasy. Like, Yoshi P even said that's what he wants to do with it. And that's what he is doing with it. I like the fact that they're going to have all the primals, which, by the way, their designs are totally based off the ones here. And FF14 is the same team, what do you expect? But anyway, that's a side note. I do like that they're going to have all the primals, Acons, Summons, whatever you want to call them, whatever they've been called throughout the series, Espers. That they're going to have them as, they're going to have, like, one-on-one battles and stuff. That looked really cool. That looks really cool, and I do get excited for that, at least. But the fact that it's all sort of medieval fantasy, like Heavensward, huge turnoff for me. I couldn't help it. I'm on the same boat as that guy. When it's all like just sort of this medieval fantasy setting aesthetic, I can't get into it. It's not my thing. That's why I kind of prefer more like I said, sort of more grounded in reality, modern, futuristic stuff. Like even this outfit, for example. It's sort of, it's lore friendly for sure. It's just leather. But the vibe it gives off is definitely not something you would see in some kind of medieval fantasy setting, you know what I mean? It's not like, for example, I think right now the best example would be, oh wait, I can't change the line. Oh, no, I can. Well, this, right here. I don't even have to change lines, like this. I don't like it, you know? And even if I use the proper time, like this, again, it looks cool. It's not my thing. The whole medieval armor aesthetic is not my thing. It's just, I did it for the roleplay purposes for, for getting to the Shadowbringers because it fits. It fits Dark Knight and Dark Knight fits the theme, but I always would prefer something more like this, which is a little bit more akin to Tetsuya Nomura's like character design and clothing design or whatever. Like I was born to do that, honestly, if you ask me. But yeah, so it's kind of, that's all it is. It's just an aesthetic thing. I just don't like Heavensward as much as Stormblood and Shadowbringers because of that. I guess when it comes to aesthetic in general, I would say Stormblood is my favorite. Not MSQ anymore. We're not talking MSQ. But yeah, when it comes to aesthetic and MSQ, the storyline, I actually do enjoy Stormblood slightly more than Heavensward. I'm gonna come out and say it, yeah. I do enjoy it a little bit more. But that's just my personal bias. It's, obviously this is just my opinion. Because of the fact that I like the themes of revolution that it has. Breaking free from tyranny. Breaking free from the Garleans' tyranny in this game in particular. And everything that happened in Heavensward, even though it still ties into the story and is important in its own way, it almost felt like a fucking filler to me. And I even talked to a friend of mine who really, also got on the hype train for Heavensward a long time ago about this, and we had this exact conversation, and she also said, yeah, she was like, you know what, you're kind of right. Like, now that the rose-tinted glasses are off and I've been playing this game long enough and she's played through the story again, she's like, yeah, Heavensward felt very fillery. And in my blind playthrough of Shadowbringers, I almost kind of thought the same thing was going to happen with Shadowbringers. I thought it was going to be a lot of filler. Thank God it wasn't. And it did feel like it at first, which is why I admitted during this stream, when I was doing a Shadowbringers MSQ, that I was scared it was going to be filler, and I was actually kind of bored for the first half of it on my blind playthrough. Not this playthrough, because I already knew what to expect and everything. But on both playthroughs, I can say for certain that the first half is still a little rough. Like, it's still kind of, they keep it interesting with a few scenes here and there, like, they flash back to what's happening here in the source with Garlemald and everything, while you're doing, like, kind of fillery stuff at the beginning of Shadowbringers. But, for the most part, it's still kind of bland until, like, level 75 and beyond, I want to say. That's when it really starts to get good, Shadowbringers. And then it keeps that high. Like, it stays good for the rest of the expansion, all the way to Endwalker, honestly. I know we haven't done, 5.4 and 5.5 yet, but I'll just go ahead and say that right now. I mean, excuse me. Whew! So yeah, I think I'm done rambling. That's pretty much my thoughts on Shadowbringers and everything that's happened up to this point. I figured I'd get it out of the way now, so I don't have to say all this shit again once we reach the end of 5.5, which I don't think will happen today. I want to try to, but if 5.4 and 5.5 is going to be as long as 5.3 was, which took me 7 hours, we're not getting to Endwalker today. My goal was to try to get there, so then I could just start Endwalker as soon as the maintenance is over on Tuesday, but I don't even think we're going to get to the end of 5.5, especially if I keep rambling and talking shit, so I think I'll just leave it at that. Those are my thoughts. That's pretty much it. I enjoy most of Shadowbringers MSQ. I'm just glad it wasn't more filler like Heaven's Word felt like, and the reason I don't consider Stormblood filler is just because I consider the fight against the Garleans to be like one of the main focuses, for me anyway, in the story back when the game first started in Realm Reborn. And that's the last thing I wanted to say. Despite all this stuff, there's always Realm Reborn to fall back on. I think we can all agree that was a fucking, you know, much better than 1.0, but that just makes you feel like, damn, well, how bad was 1.0, you know? Because that one, we can all agree, takes the cake of being, you know, the most forgettable part of this entire game. You know, even I will admit, yeah, that's exactly, Josie. Heaven's Word is, I think that's why people liked Heaven's Word so much, is because it was just miles better than Realm Reborn, you know? That's why Heaven's Word was so fucking popular when it first came out. And now that you go back to it, now with Stormblood, Shadowbringers, and Endwalker, I'm assuming is really good. So I haven't played it. Now you look back at Heaven's Word and it's just kind of like, okay, it's just kind of mediocre, you know? It's just kind of mediocre now, but back then, since Realm Reborn was the standard, yeah, Heaven's Word came along and blew it out of the water. Easily. I would have agreed with that, and still do, of course, now, but like, I mean, I would be one of those people going, yes, Heaven's Word is the best! Like, so yeah, my opinion just comes from the fact that I joined this game pretty late. I joined during Shadowbringers, so Heaven's Word didn't leave as much of an impression on me as it did to most other people. I still found Stormblood and Shadowbringers to be more enjoyable, personally. MSQ, okay. And for side content, I explained all that. Yeah, I explained that for side content, Stormblood's my favorite. For MSQ, Shadowbringers. And for both MSQ and side content, you know, Realm Reborn is the weakest, followed by Heaven's Word, and then it just gets better from there, basically. But I will say, I hate the Void Ark series more than the Crystal Tower series. That one's way better to me, so Realm Reborn at least has that over Heaven's Word. I like the Crystal Tower raid tier much better. And I'm happy to see that it ties into MSQ as well, now, in Shadowbringers. With Frahatia here. Yeah, the Void Ark series and Heaven's Word, worst Alliance raid for me, personally. I just didn't like it. Alexander normal raids, kind of like Heaven's Word MSQ, just Omega raid, God tier. Eden, second place for me. The Eden raids for Shadowbringers, that's second place. And for the Trial series, I already said. Basically, Shadowbringers and Stormblood are both tied for number 1, and then, well, there's only Heaven's Word after that. It's kind of whatever. I think he still said the same shit as before, right? Yeah, we already talked to him before. We talked to him at the end of 5.3, so I don't need to talk to him again. But we should check in with everyone else at this point, though. Like, for example, I see some familiar names over there. Yeah, let's catch up with the other Scions before we continue, shall we? Also, hold on. I rambled a lot, and that ending for the weapon series was lengthy, so actually, before we even do any of that, I should take a small break here. 207. Fuck. Yeah, you know what? Fuck the small break. I gotta, actually gotta go do my usual thing, a long break. Let's come back in an hour or two, actually. Yeah. I saw the time and I was like, fuck, I gotta get going, actually, before I, continue. But I'll try to get back as quick as possible, because I do want to get as much MSQs done before, maintenance starts. So, for those of you who stuck to the end, thank you for appreciating my rambling and listening to my rambling and hopefully appreciating, what I had to say about my personal experience and my personal opinion about these games. because I consider the expansions like their own game, sort of. But yeah, those are my thoughts on F14. So yeah, we'll be back to do 5.4 and 5.5 and see how far we get. I'll be back in an hour or two. See you later, Josie. So yeah. Till then, as always, thank you all for watching. I appreciate every one of you very much. Aiden Lorcan, Deathwing Duck, Josie. I appreciate all of you for coming by to watch in person. Well, you know, watch live, I guess, as I record these videos. And to all of you watching in the future, I appreciate you just as much. And all the support you give me on YouTube and Twitch. I'll never ask for it, but always appreciate it. Thank you. And to all of you, as always, please take care of yourselves, look after each other, stay safe, and until next time, please have a good morning, afternoon, evening, and good night. And I will see you all then. Peace. Bye, everyone.
Emotional damage.